The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with laughter. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the galaxy pointed their appendages at the three humans standing in the center of the room. Captain James Walker kept his face neutral, though his hands tightened into fists at his sides. "You expect us to believe," Council Elder Marcus wheezed between laughs, his crystalline body flickering with amused light patterns, "that your species has managed to build a vessel capable of accessing the seventh dimension." Another wave of laughter rolled through the chamber. Next to Walker, Chief Engineer Anna Miller stepped forward. Her plain gray uniform stood in stark contrast to the colorful, ornate clothing of the alien representatives. "Our calculations and test results are clear," she said, her voice steady. "The Horizon Breaker has successfully—" Silence. Marcus's crystalline form flashed red. "We have watched your kind for centuries. You barely managed faster than light travel 50 years ago. Now you claim to have leapfrogged over 6-dimensional barriers." At the back of the room, the massive slug-like forms of the ancient race's scientists rippled with mirth. Their technological superiority had gone unchallenged for millions of years. Walker understood their disbelief. Humanity had been among the stars for less than a century. "The test results are real." Dr. Robert Grant, the third human, spoke up. His weathered face showed no reaction to the mockery. "We request a formal demonstration in 3 days. The Horizon Breaker is ready." The laughter stopped. Elder Marcus floated down from his elevated platform, his crystalline body now pulsing with deep blue light. "You dare waste the Council's time with this charade?" Walker stepped forward. "We dare to show you the truth. Earth has achieved something new. Something you haven't seen before." The council chamber erupted in angry murmurs. A representative of the gas-based cloud-borne species swirled in agitation. "Impossible. We mastered fifth-dimensional travel eons ago, and even we cannot breach the sixth dimension." Miller pulled up a holographic display. "Our breakthrough came from a different direction. We stopped trying to force our way through dimensions, and instead learned to work with them. The consciousness engine." "Enough." Marcus's voice boomed through the chamber. "Your species' arrogance has gone too far." "Very well. We will observe your demonstration." His crystal form sparkled with malicious amusement. "When you fail, Earth will be isolated from all galactic trade routes for the next 1,000 years." Walker felt a chill run down his spine, but he nodded. "And when we succeed—" The chamber filled with laughter again. Marcus's voice dripped with contempt. "If, by some miracle, you succeed, Earth will be granted full voting rights in the Council and access to all technological archives of the ancient races." The stakes were enormous. Walker exchanged glances with Miller and Grant. They had known this would happen. The Horizon Breaker was humanity's greatest achievement, but no one in the galaxy would believe it until they saw it with their own eyes, or whatever sensory organs they possessed. "We accept your terms," Walker said firmly. As they left the council chamber, Walker heard the mocking laughter follow them down the corridor. Miller's face was tight with anger, but Grant looked almost amused. "They're so certain of their superiority," Grant said quietly. "They can't imagine that consciousness itself might be the key to dimensional travel. Their technology is impressive, but they've hit a wall they don't even know exists." Walker nodded. In 3 days, the galaxy would change forever. He thought about the Horizon Breaker, waiting in orbit around Earth. Its smooth black hull contained technology that would rewrite the rules of physics as the galaxy understood them. "Let them laugh," he said as they boarded their shuttle. "Soon they'll understand what humanity has achieved." The shuttle lifted off from the council station, leaving behind the echoes of alien laughter. In 3 days, that laughter would stop. In 3 days, humanity would show the galaxy exactly what it was capable of. And Walker couldn't wait to see their faces when they did. Dr. Robert Grant stared at his old notebook as the shuttle carried them back to Earth. The pages were worn, filled with drawings and equations from 5 years ago. He remembered that rainy night when everything changed, when he first understood how consciousness affected higher dimensions. "Tell us again," Captain Walker said, looking out at the stars. "How did you figure it out?" Grant smiled. The memory was clear as day. It started with a mistake. I was running tests on dimensional energy fields, the same tests everyone else had done thousands of times before. But that night, I was tired. I forgot to turn on the radiation shields. The shuttle hummed quietly as it flew through space. Anna Miller leaned forward, even though she'd heard the story before. She always said it gave her hope. "The readings went crazy," Grant continued. "At first, I thought the equipment was broken. The energy patterns made no sense. Then I realized. The patterns changed when I looked at them. They actually responded to my attention." He opened the notebook to a page filled with wild scribbles. "Everyone assumed we needed massive engines and power plants to break through dimensional barriers. But the truth was simple. Consciousness itself was the key. Our minds already exist in multiple dimensions. We just needed to learn how to use that connection." Walker nodded slowly. "And that's when the military got interested." "Yes. General Thompson visited my lab the very next day. I still don't know how they found out so quickly." Grant chuckled. "But they gave me everything I needed. The whole research facility, a team of scientists, unlimited funding. The first experiments had been small. They discovered that human consciousness could create tiny ripples in the fabric of higher dimensions. Most scientists had missed these ripples because they were looking for big energy signatures, not the subtle patterns of thought. The breakthrough came when we built the first consciousness amplifier," Miller added. "She had joined the project 3 years ago. Remember how it felt, Dr. Grant, when we first turned it on?" Grant nodded. The memory made his skin tingle, like suddenly having an extra sense. We could feel the higher dimensions, not just theorize about them, actually feel them. The device had been simple. A metal headband with sensors that could detect and amplify the dimensional connections of human consciousness. The military wanted to use it for weapons, of course, but Grant and his team convinced them that exploration was more important. "Building the engine was the hard part," Miller said. "Turning that consciousness connection into something that could move a ship through space. She had solved that problem herself after months of work." Walker turned away from the window. "And now we have the Horizon Breaker, the first ship that can sail through 7 dimensions, powered by human consciousness itself." Grant closed his notebook. Outside, Earth was growing larger, a blue jewel in the black of space. The Horizon Breaker waited in orbit, its dark hull invisible against the stars. Only the glimpses of its dimensional wake showed where it floated, ripples in reality that ordinary sensors couldn't detect. "The aliens think technology is everything," Grant said quietly. "They built bigger engines, stronger power plants, more advanced computers. But they never looked inside themselves. They never realized that consciousness itself was the bridge to higher dimensions." The shuttle began its approach to the orbital station. In 3 days, they would show the galaxy what humanity had discovered. The consciousness engine would open doors that alien science had declared impossible. "They'll try to stop us," Miller warned, "when they realize what we've actually built." "Let them try," Walker said firmly. "They don't understand what they're dealing with. The Horizon Breaker isn't just a ship. It's humanity's key to the universe." Grant touched his notebook one last time before putting it away. Soon, the galaxy would learn that the greatest breakthroughs don't come from bigger machines or more powerful computers. They come from understanding the power that exists within every human mind, the power that was about to change everything. The Horizon Breaker hung in Earth's orbit like a shadow against the stars. Its black hull absorbed light in strange ways, making it hard to look at directly. Lieutenant Tom Reed walked through its main corridor, checking systems on his tablet. The ship felt alive, humming with energy that made the hairs on his neck stand up. "How are the readings?" Anna Miller's voice echoed from the engine room ahead. She hadn't slept in 2 days, running final checks on the consciousness engine. "All green," Reed called back. "But the alien observers are getting impatient. They've been broadcasting messages asking why we need so much preparation time. Miller emerged from the engine room, wiping grease from her hands. Dark circles under her eyes showed her exhaustion, but she smiled. Let them wait. We're not rushing this. The ship's internal sensors showed 20 alien observers on board, each from a different species. They had arrived yesterday, carrying their own monitoring equipment. Their presence made the human crew nervous, but Captain Walker had allowed it. Let them see everything, he had said. Let them try to understand. Dr. Grant wants to see you in the control room, Reed said. Something about the consciousness amplifiers. They walked together through the ship's curved hallways. The design was unlike any other vessel in space. No straight lines, no sharp angles. Everything flowed in smooth curves, following the natural paths of dimensional energy. In the control room, Dr. Grant stood surrounded by floating holographic displays. Captain Walker watched from his command chair as Grant adjusted settings on the main console. The aliens tried to scan the engine, Grant said without looking up. Their instruments can't make sense of it. One of them actually accused us of hiding technology we stole from the ancient races. Walker laughed. If they only knew. How long until we're ready? 6 hours, Miller answered, checking her own readings. We need to calibrate the final consciousness harmonics. One wrong frequency and... A loud bang echoed through the ship. Everyone froze. Reed checked his tablet quickly. It's okay. Just the observers from the gas-based species. They tried to pass through a wall and hit the dimensional dampers. The tension broke as they laughed. Even some of the alien observers in the control room made sounds that might have been amusement. But Reed noticed how they kept their distance from the human crew, as if afraid of contamination. Message from Earth Command, Reed announced as his tablet beeped. All major powers have signed off. The whole world is behind us. He paused. They're also reporting that alien ships are gathering. Lots of them. Let them come, Walker said firmly. The more witnesses, the better. Miller went back to work on the consciousness engine's controls. The device looked deceptively simple, a sphere of shifting silver metal that pulsed with soft light. But inside it was humanity's greatest achievement, technology that could amplify and direct the dimensional crossing power of human consciousness. Remember, Grant said quietly to the crew, when we activate the engine, you'll feel strange. That's normal. Your consciousness will be helping to power the ship. Don't fight it. The next 6 hours passed in a blur of final checks and adjustments. More alien ships arrived, their sensors probing the horizon breaker. Earth's defensive fleet stood ready, though everyone knew they wouldn't stand a chance if the aliens turned hostile. Finally, Miller looked up from her console. We're ready. Walker pressed the ship-wide communication button. All crew, final positions. Engine room, begin power-up sequence. This is what we've worked for. This is humanity's moment. Reed felt his heart racing as he took his station. Through the view screens, he could see the gathered alien ships, hundreds of them now, representing every major species in the galaxy. All had come to witness humanity's greatest achievement, or, as most of them believed, humanity's greatest failure. Let's show them what we can do, Walker said softly. The Horizon Breaker's systems hummed to life, ready to change the galaxy forever. The countdown began. Captain Walker felt the ship's energy change as the consciousness engine powered up. Around him, the alien observers crowded their monitoring equipment, their bodies showing signs of tension in various ways. The crystal beings flickered rapidly, the gas forms swirled faster, and the slug-like ancient race representatives rippled their skin. Engine power at 20%, Miller announced. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly on the controls. First dimensional barrier approaching. Through the view screens, Walker watched the gathered alien ships. Their weapons weren't aimed at the Horizon Breaker, not yet, but he knew how quickly that could change. 30% power, Miller continued. Something's different. The engine is responding faster than in tests. Dr. Grant rushed to check the readings. It's the gathered consciousness, the whole crew working together. It's making the engine stronger. The first signs appeared. Space itself seemed to ripple around the ship, like heat waves over hot pavement. Some of the alien observers backed away from their equipment as their sensors began showing impossible readings. 40%. Breaking through Dimension 4. The ship hummed louder. Lieutenant Reed's tablet suddenly floated off his station, along with several other objects. "Gravity's acting strange," he reported calmly. A crystal being rushed forward, its light patterns showing alarm. "This is impossible. Our sensors show energy patterns that cannot exist." 50%, Miller called out. "Entering fifth dimension now." The view through the screens changed. Stars stretched and twisted, their light bending in ways that hurt the eyes. Several alien observers made sounds of distress as their equipment started smoking. "You must stop," one of the ancient race observers demanded. "These readings violate known physics." Walker smiled. "Known to you, perhaps. Proceed, Engineer Miller." 60%. Sixth dimension barrier approaching. The ship's hull became transparent, then opaque, then transparent again. Reality flickered around them. More objects floated free, defying normal gravity. Through the view screens, Walker saw some of the alien ships backing away. "What's happening to space-time?" Reed asked, watching his readings. "It's like folding." "Reality as we know it exists in 3 dimensions," Grant explained quickly. "In the 6th dimension, those rules don't apply." 70%, Miller. The alien observers were in chaos now. Their equipment was failing, showing readings they had believed impossible. A gas form being tried to flee through the wall again, but bounced back, trapped by the ship's dimensional fields. 80%, preparing for 7th dimension breakthrough. Walker felt it then, a strange sensation, as if his mind was expanding. He could sense the higher dimensions now, feel them calling. Around him, the human crew showed similar reactions, their eyes wide with wonder. "This is beyond anything," one of the ancient race observers whispered. "Your consciousness engine, it's not just moving through dimensions, it's..." 90%. Miller's voice rose with excitement. Final dimensional barrier approaching. The ship pulsed with energy. Through the view screens, reality itself seemed to peel away like layers of an onion. The gathered alien fleet appeared to exist in multiple places at once, their ships leaving trails through dimensions they couldn't perceive. Full power. The horizon breaker surged forward. Space split open before it, revealing colors that had no names, geometric patterns that couldn't exist in normal space. The 7th dimension embraced them, welcomed them. Walker stood from his command chair, watching in awe as his ship did what the galaxy had deemed impossible. The alien observers had fallen silent, their beliefs about the universe shattering around them. "Dimensional transition complete," Miller reported proudly. "The horizon breaker is now operating in 7 dimensions simultaneously." Through the view screens, Walker could see the truth of the universe, all possible realities existing at once, time flowing in all directions, space folding in on itself endlessly, and his ship, humanity's greatest achievement, sailed through it all with perfect control. "Send the message to Earth," he ordered. "Tell them we did it. Tell them humanity has arrived." The horizon breaker floated in 7-dimensional space, reality bending around it like light through a prism. In the control room, the alien observers had gone completely still. Their equipment lay forgotten, most of it burned out or showing nonsensical readings. "Impossible," one of the ancient race observers whispered, its slug-like body trembling. "We studied consciousness for 10,000 years. We found nothing like this." Dr. Grant stepped forward, his voice gentle but firm. "You studied it from the outside. You tried to measure it, quantify it, treat it like another form of energy. But consciousness isn't just energy. It's the key to the higher dimensions themselves." The ship's view screen showed views that defied description. In the 7th dimension, they could see the past and future of nearby space existing simultaneously. Alien ships appeared as time streams rather than solid objects, their histories and potential futures visible all at once. "Look there," Lieutenant Reed pointed to a particular display. "You can see the dimensional barriers themselves. They're not walls to break through. They're more like doors that need the right key to open." The crystal being that had been so dismissive earlier now flickered with colors of distress. "But your species is so young. You barely mastered space travel. How did you see what we missed?" Miller smiled as she adjusted the consciousness engine settings. "Sometimes being young is an advantage. We didn't have thousands of years of assumptions holding us back. We looked at the universe with fresh eyes." Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Reed checked his console quickly. Multiple ships powering up weapons. "The ancient race fleet is." "Let them," Walker said calmly. "Engineer Miller, please demonstrate our defensive capabilities." Miller nodded and touched a few controls. The consciousness engine pulsed once, sending a ripple through 7 dimensions. The attacking ships froze in place, caught between moments of time. "We're not holding them with force or energy," Grant explained to the stunned observers. "The 7th dimension exists outside of conventional time. We simply shifted their time streams slightly. They'll be fine in a few minutes." One of the gas form observers swirled in agitation. "This changes everything. The power your species now holds is not for conquest," Walker finished firmly. "Humanity didn't build the Horizon Breaker to dominate. We built it to explore, to understand, to grow." Through the view screens, they could see more alien ships arriving. News of what had happened was spreading fast. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality, one where humanity wasn't just another young species to be dismissed. "Your consciousness technology," a crystal being asked hesitantly, "could it be taught to others?" Grant nodded. "With time and patience, yes. Any species capable of self-awareness has the potential, but it requires letting go of pure technological solutions. You have to look inward, not just outward." The frozen ships began to move again as Miller released them. None of them powered up their weapons this time. Instead, they began broadcasting messages, requests for dialogue, offers of alliance, desperate attempts to establish diplomatic contact. "The balance of power hasn't just shifted," Reed observed. "It's completely transformed, in less than an hour." Walker looked around the control room at the alien observers. Their postures had changed. Gone was the condescension, the dismissive superiority. Now they watched the human crew with something close to awe. "Tell them," Walker said to his communications officer. "Tell every species in range. Earth is ready for real dialogue now. As equals. The age of mockery is over." The Horizon Breaker's consciousness engine hummed softly, keeping them stable in 7-dimensional space. Through the view screens, the crew could see the infinite possibilities stretching out before them. Humanity had not just proven itself. It had opened a door that would change the galaxy forever. And this was only the beginning. A massive energy beam cut through space toward the Horizon Breaker. One of the ancient race warships, desperate to maintain their superiority, had launched a final attack. Captain Walker watched calmly as the beam approached. "Should I evade?" Reed asked from his station. "No," Walker replied. "Let them see. Miller, show them what the consciousness engine can really do." Miller's fingers danced across her controls. The beam reached the ship and passed straight through it, as if the Horizon Breaker wasn't there at all. On the screens, they could see the beam continuing onward through empty space. "We simply shifted slightly out of their dimension," Miller explained to the astonished alien observers. "Their weapons exist in normal space. We don't have to." The attacking warship launched more beams, each more powerful than the last. The Horizon Breaker's crew watched as reality bent around their ship, each attack passing harmlessly through the space they had occupied milliseconds before. "This is beyond defensive technology," one of the crystal beings noted, its lights pulsing with excitement. "You're not blocking or absorbing their attacks. You're stepping between moments of time. Grant nodded. The consciousness engine lets us perceive all possible positions in spacetime. We simply choose the safest one. No shields needed when you can be somewhere else entirely. Another alien ship joined the attack. This one launched gravity weapons, trying to tear the horizon breaker apart at the atomic level. Miller actually laughed as the gravitational forces warped and twisted around their hull. Gravity only works normally in 3 dimensions, she said. We exist in 7. Would you like to see what we can really do? Walker gave her a nod. Miller pressed a sequence of controls, and the consciousness engine's hum deepened. The attacking ships suddenly found themselves floating near Jupiter, their weapons still firing uselessly at Earth's orbit. Did you teleport them? A gas form observer asked in shock. Not exactly, Grant explained. We bent space. From our perspective in the 7th dimension, the distance between Earth and Jupiter is more like a gentle curve we can adjust. The alien ships try to return, their fastest engines burning at full power, but they seem to make no progress, as if they were running on a treadmill through space. Distance itself is different for us now, Reed said, checking his readings. They can't reach us unless we allow it. More ships were arriving, not to attack, but to watch. The horizon breaker had become the center of attention for the entire sector. Its black hull rippled with dimensional energy, putting on a display that defied the laws of physics as the galaxy understood them. Maybe we should show them something more impressive, Miller suggested with a smile. Walker raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? This. Miller's hands moved across her console again. The consciousness engine pulsed, and suddenly there were 5 horizon breakers visible on the screens. Quantum superposition, Grant explained to the stunned observers. A ship exists in multiple probability states at once. Each version is equally real. The 5 ships moved in perfect synchronization, dancing through space in patterns that shouldn't have been possible. Then they merged back into one vessel, the demonstration complete. Enough, the ancient race observer said quietly. We understand now. Your species has truly mastered dimensional travel. Walker stood from his command chair. Not mastered. We've only begun to explore what's possible. This demonstration used less than half of the consciousness engine's full power. The silence that followed was profound. Every alien observer, every distant ship, every sensor in range had just witnessed something that would change galactic civilization forever. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the ancient races, they had surpassed them in ways no one had imagined possible. Send word to your people, Walker told the observers. The age of human exploration is just beginning, and we invite all species to learn and grow with us. The horizon breaker hung in space, its power now undeniable. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 week after the horizon breaker's demonstration, the Galactic Council chamber was different. The human delegation no longer stood in the center like accused criminals. Instead, they sat in honored seats, with Elder Marcus's crystal form dimmed in respect, rather than glowing with mockery. The terms of our agreement are clear, Marcus announced, his voice lacking its former arrogance. Earth is granted full voting rights in the Council. All technological archives of the ancient races are now open to human access. Walker sat quietly, remembering the laughter that had filled this chamber just days ago. Now the aliens watched the humans with careful attention, studying their every move. We have additional proposals, a representative of the gas form species announced. We request permission to send students to Earth, to learn your consciousness technology. More voices joined in. Soon, the chamber was filled with offers of trade, requests for alliance, and promises of cooperation. The same species that had mocked humanity now competed for their attention. Earth accepts all students who wish to learn, Walker said firmly. But understand, this isn't about gaining power. It's about understanding ourselves, all of us, in new ways. Dr. Grant stepped forward. The consciousness engine works because it builds on something all intelligent species share: self-awareness. With proper training, Many of your people could learn to perceive higher dimensions naturally." The aliens murmured in excitement. The idea that their own consciousness could be the key to dimensional travel sparked hope throughout the chamber. Miller, sitting at a console nearby, showed them the first training results. "These are readings from a crystal being who practiced our techniques for just 3 days. They're already showing signs of higher dimensional awareness." The images floating above her console drew gasps of surprise. The crystal being's natural light patterns had changed, showing new frequencies that stretched into the higher dimensions. "This changes everything," Elder Marcus said quietly. "Not just space travel, our entire understanding of the universe." "That's why we're here," Walker replied. "Not to rule, but to help everyone grow." The Horizon Breaker was just the beginning. On the chamber's main screen, they could see Earth's orbital shipyards. 3 new vessels were under construction, their black hulls slowly taking shape. Each would have consciousness engines, ready to explore deeper into the galaxy than any ship had gone before. "The first joint mission launches next month," Reeve announced proudly. Human crews working alongside alien trainees, exploring the 7th dimension together. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. Species that had been rivals for millennia now talked about working together, sharing discoveries, building a new future. "There will be challenges," Grant warned. "Learning to use consciousness technology requires patience. Not everyone will succeed at first, but the potential is there in all of us." Walker stood, drawing everyone's attention. "The galaxy mocked us for being young, for being new to the stars. But our fresh perspective let us see what others had missed. Now we offer that same fresh start to everyone." Miller's console beeped. "The Horizon Breaker's next mission is ready. We've detected 7th dimensional signatures from beyond the galaxy's edge. Something's out there, waiting to be discovered." The alien representatives leaned forward with interest. The same beings who had dismissed humanity's claims now hung on their every word. "Who would like to join us?" Walker asked with a smile. "There's room for observers from every species on board." The chamber filled with volunteers. Old rivalries faded as different species rushed to work together, all wanting to be part of humanity's next journey into the unknown. Outside the council station, the Horizon Breaker waited in 7-dimensional space, its hull shifting with possibilities. The ship that had changed the galaxy was ready for new adventures, carrying the combined hopes and dreams of all species toward a future no one could have imagined just days before. The age of human leadership had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.